It's been recording 4 minutes, damn it, Nick.
Okay.
Welcome back.
Well, I mean, he's just going to cut it. So easy.
Welcome to the Sundance Kids podcast. I'm Junior Nelson. That's...
Oh, Nick Yarrow.
I'm Malcolm Hatfield.
And I'm horny.
That's Jake Winkler.
I did not see that coming. Oh, got him.
No, we've been talking about Valentine's Day.
We have been, so it made us all naturally horny.
Oh, man.
As all things should be.
Well, you guys already know episode something. I think it's episode 5. Maybe 5 or 4. Don't cite us on that one.
No, wait. 6.
No. There's no way it's 6.
5.
Yeah, that's 5. It's number 5. Episode 5 of the Sundance Kids.
The best episode of Star Wars.
The best episode of Star Wars?
Yeah, Empire Strikes Back.
This isn't Star Wars. Where's my lightsaber?
Naturally, this is going to
This
be the best
isn't
episode.
a beach. This is a bathtub.
Yeah.
I rewatched Star Wars Episode 2 yesterday.
The Attack of the
It's
Clones.
terrible.
I watched Phantom Menace on Sunday.
Attack of the Clones is so bad.
It's just like they focus too much on the love story,
But it's
which
also-
I don't really give a shit about, to be honest.
It's a love
I
story.
hate sand.
You would care if it was a better love story. It's a terrible
I
love
wouldn't give a
story.
shit. I
It
want to
doesn't
watch
make
Star
sense.
Wars.
It's literally, it's Natalie Portman from the first movie, but the kid is like 10 in the first movie, and then
No.
they jumped
Okay.
him up to
Alright,
Hayden
and
Christensen.
I want to watch Star Wars. I don't want
looks
to. I don't want to watch
weird.
a love story.
I
That's
think-
what the entire
It
thing
looks
is.
weird.
He's creepy as shit in that movie.
Like,
There's
that
no
kid
reason
must
to
be-
be.
It's a bad love story, but it doesn't mean that doesn't have a place in Star Wars.
No, but it's
does.
just
It's
a bad movie though.
He is kind of creepy. Like yesterday when I was watching it, there's a scene where Anakin is staring at her, and she's like, "Don't look at me like that," and he's like, "Oh why? Oh
Yeah, he's
super
weird. It's
rapey.
creepy." I'm like,
He's got a rapey vibe.
Yo,
for
you gonna
sure.
rape her, dude?
He's not even. There's got to be better looking people in the galaxy for a senator to get with, right?
Yeah.
And
like
then
not
she
like
doesn't
he's-
trust
but
him, so
she-
she covers up the cameras
Yeah, creepy.
because she
She's
didn't
creeped
want
out
them
by him.
watching her.
What if like that was one of the low key themes of the movie?
That he raped her?
Yeah, he was like an enabler.
Oh shoot, kind of like Ben Solo.
Yeah, dude.
No, I think it was just like
It just runs in the
think about-
Skywalker family.
think about how many that movie is 50% romance, 20% like Obi-Wan doing his thing, which is fine, and then 20 or 30%. My math is off here, but like then it's like 30% video game cutscenes.
Yeah.
Think about how many times in that movie, The Clones, it just looks
so
like a
many video
cutscene
game
from
Yeah.
like from a video game, like a terrible.
Well, that's like a 2019 video game. Like back then, that was
Yeah.
the best shit they had.
No,
yeah,
no.
but it's still bad though.
It's still bad. It's like there were games at that time period that were already doing stuff that was better than
like
that.
Uncharted
Yeah.
had better cutscenes than that entire movie. Anyways, so the movie that we watched last week, guys, was
It wasn't Star Wars.
Star Wars
It was Attack of the Clones.
Attack of the Clones or
Against
Phantom Menace.
popular opinion.
We watched acclaimed Roger Deakins movie. What's his name?
I can't remember.
It's Charles Dickens. No, it
We're
wasn't.
terrible at this.
We watched 1917, which has been nominated by 1917 has been nominated for multiple Academy Awards, really under a lot of critical acclaim, and we went and saw it just a week ago today, actually. So we're here to talk
Sam
about it.
Mendes.
I was
Yeah,
really,
but
that's
the
right.
cinematographer is
Oh, you're right. It's the guy who did Blade Runner.
Richard Deacon, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, it's something like that.
I was really excited for
which
that.
that was the best part of the new Blade Runner, I
Yeah.
thought.
I was really excited for them to start killing some Nazis, but then I realized it's World War
You
One.
realize you're like 20 years early.
Yeah,
Don't worry about
it
it.
was too bad. I mean, they were still fighting the Germans, right?
Yeah.
Really,
They just weren't Nazis yet.
I mean, they were
Yes.
Nazis like grandparents, and like, I mean, they'll be Nazis.
What are the character names for everybody in that movie? I always forget their names.
So
Yeah.
the main character was Schofield, and his buddy was Sanders.
Yeah, so 1917 tells the story of
Wait, is that his
Two,
name? No. That's wrong. Sanders is someone else.
It's like Carson, I want to say.
Yeah.
There's not even a name underneath.
Anyways, and 1917 tells the story of two British foot soldiers in World War I, and kind of a special assignment they're given. It's kind of really a basic premise. and their journey through
The dead
German
zone.
occupied, the dead zone and German occupied World War I France, and
To warn another battalion to not go on a march the next day, or else they would all get slaughtered.
exactly, and they have to save one of them's brother, and so it's pretty simple premise, like a lot of war movies, I think.
Blake.
Yeah.
Blake,
it is Blake.
Blake and
Blake and
Schofield.
Schofield.
So the movie's awesome. I really liked it. There's some quarrels I've had with it, and we'll talk about it.
Let's start with our ratings then.
Yeah. So Jake, what would you rate it out of score out of 10? And then would you recommend people see it?
I would give it an 8.5 out of 10. I thought it was a really good film. It really did a good job of putting me in the movie and in the landscape. Like if I were to be put on that landscape, I would be able to find my way from start to finish. And I thought that was just amazing how they did that. So I would definitely recommend seeing it.
Yep. I would give it my rating probably like a 7.5. But that sounds low compared to all the other movies we've reviewed so far. Not all of them, but to a lot of them. But I still think it's a fantastic movie. I'd recommend it. It's a really moving experience. It's probably the best shot movie of the year of 2019. Like, I think it should win best cinematography. I think for sure it's my favorite movie as far as just camera work goes. Prettiest movie of the year, I thought. But
She Purdy.
but it's got some things I'm not a huge fan of. But other than that, I think it's like a movie I'd recommend. I give it like a 7.5. I think you should see it, especially if you're going to be kind of watching the Oscars and you want to know what you think should win. But I don't think it's a movie anyone could generally not like being in the theater for. Like, I didn't like Parasite much, and I understand why you wouldn't really want to watch Parasite or wouldn't enjoy it. But I think everyone that sees 1917 is going to have some sort of experience with it. So I thought it was good.
Yeah. I mean, I'm critical of war films. It's just one genre that I don't particularly love. And I think this movie is able to do a lot of things that make me interested, a lot of things that catch my grip. And for that reason, I'm going to give it an 8. Just a lot of that reason isn't necessarily because how much I love this movie per se, or how much I thought about this movie, which is most of the reason why I give movies high ratings, a lot of the movies I watch. But I think with this movie, it's just so damn beautiful. Yeah. It's so pretty to look at, and the whole one-shot aspect of it, it can be a little gimmicky at times, but for me, there's definite scenes in that where I was shocked. I was just there with my jaw wide open, watching some masterful scene created like out of the mind of freaking God, man. like there's a couple of scenes in that movie where it's just so damn beautiful. And once we go into spoiler territory, I'll talk a little about which ones I thought that was. But I mean, story wise, very basic, and I like basic stories like this Mad Max, a couple other movies that have clear, just man on a mission stories, and I don't have many gripes with it. I just don't like war movies in general, and so I'm surprised that I like this movie, because for the most part I hate war movies.
That's super funny.
Yeah,
I am on the complete opposite spectrum because I love war movies, and I particularly like this one because normally war movies are being about just being super chaotic and intense and constantly all over the place. But this one was surprisingly concise. And that's what I really liked about it, because it reminded me of Dunkirk, even though I wasn't a really big fan of Dunkirk. But I really, really did like this movie. And I felt like that one take type deal is kind of gimmicky, but here I definitely think it was more utilized in the sense that it didn't feel gimmicky. Like, it just fit perfectly with what was going on, and the whole, being the messenger, having to show them going on their journey. And it reminded me a lot of Lord of the Rings in that aspect, where you could picture their journey starting from where they were at their base camp and like almost envision the whole path that they took to the end of the 2nd Battalion that they were going to. And so honestly, I'd give this like a 9. I really did love this movie so much.
Yeah.
But like I said, I just love war movies.
I respect that, dude. I respect that.
Also, I just loved one thing I also really want to respect about this movie is it didn't rely on big name actors.
Good point.
Like they totally could have.
And if they were really small roles.
Exactly. Like I feel like any other movie in Hollywood, they'd be like, oh, in giant, bold, white letters, this person's in the freaking movie, even though it's literally for like 2 minutes.
Yeah. And we'll get into that in spoiler territory.
Yeah. Let's
talk about, I want to talk about the cinematography. And what, some people feel is a little gimmicky, but where it's worked a couple times.
Well, like what I think is gimmicky, I don't know if you guys remember Tintin, like the animated show.
Yeah.
I never really watched it, but I remember they showed the commercial thousands of times. And it's like him running across a roof and just like jumping and like the camera. I mean, it's animated, so it's easy to have the camera follow him.
Yeah.
And the way it follows him is just kind of like, I don't know. It's kind of it's gimmicky,
Yeah.
and that's what there's always a few scenes in these really long shot films like this.
It's like gimmicky is like in the sense that, I would say Birdman honestly is more in the sense of gimmicky because like
I thought Birdman's
was
where it works,
masterful.
Really? I don't know. Because
that's a masterpiece.
I watched it and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. But I know what happens and I never watch it again.
Shot a little bit like John Wick.
I think I like Birdman more than this movie.
Really?
And I think I like that aspect of it more than this in this movie.
That's super funny.
Birdman was, I think you're less aware of it in Birdman. Mm-hmm. Birdman's probably a faster paced movie. I think why they do it in Birdman, what's the point, right? Probably because it's a movie about someone trying to be into theater, so it's going to have kind of these long takes and feel like it's like happening in front of you, whereas different movies cut. I think that as long as it has a purpose and it's not like just because you can do it, then I think it's fine. And I think that's why this movie works with this type of idea. And this is where I kind of point out the weaknesses in it too, is it feels like without it, it would have been maybe a mediocre movie. But this movie, it feels like because it's this awesome one shot and it's all handheld camera and it's handheld, but it's all steady cam. So it's like, it's not like shaky or anything.
Yeah.
The idea is like Jake was saying, to make you feel part of the landscape, just as much as the characters do.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think it might be what you said there, where it might be that they did it just for the sake of doing it. And
see, I don't necessarily agree.
I think this is my mindset. Sam Mendes was like, I want to make a World War I movie. How am I going to make a World War I movie interesting? I'm going to make it one shot. And then he wrote the story.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like, I think...
It feels tailored to that.
A lot of it... Well, you need to understand, too, a lot of it were stories borrowed from his great-grandfather.
Yeah.
So I do kind of see where maybe that did actually maybe is what made it super popular. Because it is like that selling point there. But it is interesting because now that you kind of do mention it, there isn't really much that happens.
Without it, it feels like it would be like it wouldn't be a good movie without the way it's shot.
Yeah. Like if that movie was shot like a documentary style or like in some like other
a TV
style.
show on BBC.
Yeah. It was shot think about war movies usually like to kind of rattle you around.
Yeah.
And Saving Private Ryan is a big example, right? Tons of cuts, really shaky cam. And it's supposed to kind of make you feel like you're in war, rattled. And I think this was supposed to make you feel like you're in a different war, which I think was really cool. Like, World War II was a lot more chaotic and fast-paced than World War I. World War I was mostly sitting in trenches, doing nothing, slowly moving forward for 25 yards, right?
Dying of mustard gas.
And then
exactly.
Just those planes like...
Flying over and crashing. So World
I
War
do
II.
The sound
in that
editing
sense,
in this
one
movie.
thing-
in that
I
sense,
do,
doesn't it feel
though.
like a movie cut really fast wouldn't have even worked for World War One?
Yeah.
This movie lets you live in the trenches with them. It lets you walk with them. It lets you feel you're part of this really slow but really violent and gruesome war. So I think that was really, really interesting. So I thought for that purpose, beautiful. And obviously, like, it's also really pretty.
Yeah.
Like the color changes.
The soundtrack's amazing.
Soundtrack's great. Like, so really good. It felt a little bit, like, as far as war movies go, it felt a little bit more like my favorite movie of all time. Felt more Apocalypse Now-esque than Saving Private Ryan-esque.
Yeah.
Where it's like Apocalypse Now is really, in essence, like A to B film. A movie where they're going from one place to another place. And But, I mean, Apocalypse Now has a lot more going on. It's a way better film. But this movie feels like more like that. Especially there's scenes where it's dark and there's a town that's on fire. It felt really clearly inspired by Apocalypse Now.
Oh yeah.
There's like fireworks in the air and flares. Didn't that feel totally like that scene, the bridge scene in Apocalypse Now?
Yeah, it did, and purposely so.
Totally. That was clearly,
Give me spoilers from Apocalypse Now.
dude, you gotta watch it.
You just gotta watch fucking.
Like, if you haven't seen it by
But-
this point,
but at the same
that's on
time-
you. But real talk though, I feel like there were just a lot of nice little things that they pulled off that actually really worked in this movie.
Yep.
Like, there's a big twist that, like, I wouldn't really say twist, but something you would not expect to happen.
Should we get into
Like
spoilers?
20 minutes in. I just want to finish this real quick.
Okay.
Great performances. The main character, really good.
Fantastic performance.
Oh yeah, great. When I saw both the actors at the beginning, I was like, because I didn't see much promotional material for this movie, and I've heard people who saw like way too much promotional stuff for this movie, and they were hating on it. And from the little that I saw, I didn't expect much. You know, like, I think a lot of people, they saw like the fact that it was one shot, they saw the fact that it was going to be what it was, they saw the actors that were in it, and they were expecting a lot. I saw like a couple trailers for it, and I was like, I'm not gonna like this. This is another war type of war movie that I don't like. I didn't watch any other trailers besides like the first two maybe.
Yeah.
And then I went in, I was surprised.
Yeah, I just think the biggest reason why I like this film so much is because it sets out what it tries to do.
Yep.
Which is show you what was a typical day in the life of a soldier back then in World War One.
Yeah.
Well,
Like,
I mean,
it was
it's not really typical, but yeah.
I mean, it wasn't
But I know what you
typical,
mean.
but it was almost like a summary.
It's supposed to make you feel like you're in with them.
Yeah.
Like, it was, to me, it was like a summary, like seeing them, all the things that they went through. I'm sure that multiple people have experienced.
And that's part of the theme of the movie that I think we can get into in a little bit.
Yeah.
That it is sort of, I wouldn't say typical, but sort of just the cycle of what they're doing day to day, week to week, month to month.
Just feels like it's repetitive. There's nothing happening. Like,
Yeah.
So
How'd you guys think the acting was? Like, did you feel like they were good actors?
I
Yeah.
thought they were great.
The main,
Especially if you consider how many of those are really long takes.
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Where it's like, you get this take right or we redo it.
Schofield he was awesome.
I thought I was gonna hate the Drake, is that his name? It's Blake.
Yeah, Blake.
I thought I was gonna hate Blake, but I genuinely liked all the scenes he was in.
Because they think that the actors aren't going to win any Oscars.
Yeah,
But
I don't think
I
they
don't
were
think
even
they'll get
nominated, were they?
No.
But
They weren't that good.
But the thing is, this
I thought
movie
they were
isn't
actually
about the
really good,
performances.
but it wasn't really like.
You can't. There's no character
Again,
to
it
really
feels like a movie-
portray. Like how? I mean, you can do a really good job at looking scared while getting shot at, but it's not like
It doesn't feel like a movie driven by
portraying
characters.
going into madness as like the Joker.
It's
Yeah.
that's where
It's
I
a
think
different
this
level.
movie falls short compared to, and obviously it's hard when you compare it to Apocalypse Now or even Saving Private Ryan, but at the end it falls short a little bit where it doesn't feel like it's a movie totally about characters and it feels like a movie about like I don't really know
The war.
the war, and that's where it falls short a little bit. Is you don't feel, and you do care about the character, especially that main character. You just start to really care about him, and you do wish for things to go right, but it does feel like it's a movie built around a lot of really good sequences, kind of tied together.
Yeah.
And in a sense, it felt like a video game to me, where it's like you
Yeah.
battle this guy,
No,
and then you have
totally.
another challenge, and then you have another challenge.
Well, the other thing too, and I kind of talked about this earlier, war movies really rely on the premise of relating with characters because of how vulnerable they are. So like, even though you don't really know anything about the two characters other than one has a brother in a second area, and then the other one you don't even learn anything about.
You just
him
know he's a
until
hardened soldier.
the very end.
Yeah.
You just know that, oh crap, they could die absolute horrible deaths any moment now, and that sucks. So you kind of feel bad for him. And other than that, there's no reason you really would feel for him. But I think that's just why I like war movies so much, is because I like feel such respect for them going through that. And
I think a good movie to compare this movie to is The Revenant, because like it's that same thing where it's like a man on a mission and just that lonesome. And like Jake was saying, like none of these actors were nominated for an Oscar. And the reason why I think they weren't is just because they're alone a lot of the time. There's not a lot of dialogue.
Yeah.
Like the word wise, like just communication wise, there's not much going on. And there's a lot of scenes where the people are just like moving, and it's just like them like walking and running.
Which I think shouldn't be looked over though.
Leo,
that's still tough acting.
Yeah.
Leo DiCaprio won an Oscar for that.
But he won that Oscar because it was a consolation Oscar. It felt like he has better performances than
But the other thing, so what I'm trying to point out is like, yeah, it is really important that they achieve that, but they didn't really portray in essence like a character, in my opinion.
Yeah,
like you have soldier number 1 and soldier number 2 who had a mission. It wasn't like Joaquin Phoenix being Arthur Flick or Adam Sandler being what's his name?
Sandler.
Howie
Bling.
Like they didn't really like need to sink into a certain role. It was more like look scared when you get shot.
Yeah.
Don't look and like obviously I guess I'm kind of downplaying it because it really is impressive what they did.
The character development's small, but it's I would say it's significant. It's good.
Yeah.
But you're right, it's not like an Oscar performance necessarily. There's some really good snippets that are like amazing, but generally it's an action movie.
I think for me like like an actor award, I feel like it's more of like less of how well you act and more about the character and how likable the character is. I feel like that plays a huge role because you have a lot of great performances like acting wise where they play the role, but it's really mostly about the character. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you have to have both, but there's so many great actors. I think mostly it gauges character.
Because like anybody can turn in a good performance anytime.
What would you do if like
but it's those great performances you channel every once in a while that matter. They give you awards, right?
Well, I think so, but I think it's mostly the character. I think there's probably 5 actors out there who could have played. Joker to such a level. Joker is a character that it's easy to.
I don't know.
Why? No, that role is very much Joaquin Phoenix.
How many people could have played either of these characters?
A lot of people.
Anyone.
It's like all of a sudden it cuts to a scene and then one of them turns around.
That's a good point.
It's Tom Cruise and Nicolas Cage.
Like halfway
Nicolas Cage could have been the Joker straight up.
No, I was saying for
Nicolas Cage is one of the very few people in Hollywood that I feel like could have
pull off a Joker.
You're right. Like Jake makes a good point. 1917. Anybody could have been in these roles, but that makes them doesn't mean that their performances are worse than other performances.
Yeah,
but
there's just not much to work with.
Yeah,
no one would have ever won an Oscar from those roles. I don't think anyone would have ever won an Oscar for those roles.
Point.
No matter how good of like
I feel like
an actor.
I feel like Leo could have if it was the same situation with
Leo.
Where he had like 10 nominations or no wins.
Even Nicolas Cage, the greatest acting mind of our generation.
He's hit or miss, dude. Adaptation's one of the best performances ever. I think we should get into spoilers just so we don't get held up on it. But so after this, everything we're gonna say is
my ass cheeks are sore.
Yep,
my cheeks are sore.
Mine aren't.
First of all, let's talk about this. I was not expecting Blake to die super fast.
Neither was I.
That was
surprising.
That was cool.
I didn't expect him to die. Like I knew he was gonna die.
I thought he was the main character. I was like,
I actually did too.
He has to see his brother. Because I was thrown back and forth between who's the main character.
Totally. And especially because in all the trailers and stuff, I thought it was Blake.
I thought that was cool. The way
and he was the first person on screen. So I thought he was the protagonist.
I thought that was really cool. I thought that was a major strength as far as plot goes.
Yeah.
And where the rest of the movie feels like, oh, this is so shot so well and it's really pretty and I would 100% recommend you watch it. It's a cool experience, but it still leaves a little bit to be desired. That was the strength in the plot. A weaker movie would have just had to be like a buddy cop movie of them traveling through
Yeah.
Germany,
Just
right?
telling jokes.
Or and they're kind of they have differences, and I love how Schofield's character Will kind of learns to become like the other guy. And Alex made a good point that name is great because will is the theme of the movie.
Yeah, strong will.
Having if you have a will, you can get.
Damn it! I didn't notice that.
Isn't that a little on the? It's a little on the nose, but I think it's fine.
I also really liked all of the low key cameos in this. Just so many British actors.
Yeah, it felt like a British.
Like,
but it was good because they were small roles. I like that they
they didn't parade their names around. Like, what if the first trailer was like?
The thing is, it was. Really? I remember like 9 months ago, or even maybe longer, because I feel like I've been seeing
trailers. I've been seeing trailers for this
so damn long.
I remember seeing a trailer for this when I saw like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood in July.
Yeah. No, but I saw a trailer like before that. Like I saw trailer like way far back.
You on your mission before that, dude?
Yeah. I saw a trailer of this when I was on my mission. That's how long ago.
Oh my
That's how long ago it was, and. And I remember when I watched that trailer, it said Benedict Cumberbatch, like the first thing.
Okay.
So
well, maybe it was like based on your region or something. Because I swear when I saw trailers for this, I saw like a frame of him with this scar on his eye, but I don't remember.
Did you guys see that one trailer where it was literally just the scene where he's running?
Yeah.
And then it's like the logo that it's just like going in. Yeah.
Not a trailer that I like. These trailers kind of sucked.
They did. They were pretty bad.
They just made it look like a standard war movie.
Yeah.
But it's hard to capture. Like, how do you capture the cinematography?
Well, honestly, because the trailers did such a bad job. Because I really did not want to watch this movie until I saw how good of reviews it was getting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even when it was getting reviews, like up until like 30 minutes before we watched this movie, I was still like, man, are you really gonna miss this? Like I have.
You don't like war movies.
You really don't. What is it that you don't like?
I don't know. I just feel like it's like beating a dead horse. You know, it's sort of like. Okay,
we get it. You don't like violence, like okay.
No, it's not.
We should just
we're all
socialists.
We're warmongers.
Did you say it's beating off a dead horse?
No, it's beating.
How can it be beating? It's dead.
I don't remember that. I remember that scene.
We get it, like dead animals.
Can we talk about like the vaudevillian Broadway musical scene in the middle?
Oh yeah, when everyone starts singing.
When the Germans and the Brits line up and they do leg kicks and they sing, "It's just a war, it's just a war."
No, but there was a part out of nowhere where there's a musical number in this movie where it's just a guy, he like walks into a group of soldiers and the guy's just singing, and that was sort of great.
He was singing "Wayfaring Soul," wasn't that it?
Not a poor wayfaring man of grief necessarily, but it was a song like that.
Okay.
That's true. I forgot about this movie. For all its kind of weaknesses, I've been hampering on. Like it feels like it leaves a little desire with the plot. To me, it feels like a little bit like a video game. Like there's levels.
It's Battlefield 1. It's Battlefield 1.
It feels like a war video game where there's like a level.
I didn't like Battlefield. Like that first campaign mission in Battlefield 1 was
I didn't
great.
play the campaign.
The rest was terrible.
But you know what I mean though. It feels a little bit like a video game, and the plot feels kind of thin.
It's literally cinematic.
But
when
I'll
he's
say
running from those two soldiers, I was like, "We're fucking Battlefield 1."
But doesn't it feel like it has those weaknesses, but it has like, for me, like one or two of the most captivating scenes like all year from all 2019. Where I was like my jaw was open and I was like, whoa! Like the scene we were talking earlier in that town with the flares in the air, and then he's walking and there's another guy and they can't really tell if one of them is German or British, and it's a creepy, beautiful. The music's amazing.
That might just be my favorite scene of the year.
Yeah, it's
so that's why
for me that is my scene.
To me, that's like a top 5 scene of the year. That's up there with like the TV show scene in Joker. That's up there with
that's what
the ending of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
That's
like
literally
the confrontation with the hippies, and up there with like the whole basketball scene in Uncut Gems.
If that movie hadn't had this scene, and like that's why I might say, like after all is said and done, that it's my favorite scene of the year. Because if this movie didn't have that scene, I don't know if I'd like this movie.
I agree.
Well, here's the other thing that's funny too, is it's really, there are parts that have a lot of contrivances just because of that one shot take, and they want to fill in stuff that's happening. Like You're gonna tell me right now that the plane that got shot down hit the one barn in like the 8 miles span
Yeah, but
that
I
it could have
liked it.
taken for it to
I liked
fall?
it.
I did too, but like it's totally like
That
that's
stuff-
such a video game like thing, dude.
That stuff doesn't bother me.
When you
a
like walk
ton.
up to the window and you see it get shot down.
It
and
was
you
a
go
video
towards
game.
But wasn't
and it goes
it
like
so
down,
well
up,
shot,
down the
though?
hill.
Exactly.
Wait. When it comes back, the
thing is,
That was literally like some
That's-
Uncharted.
it was Uncharted.
That's a scene too. That's a scene that's in the trailers,
The
and it
other
feels like
thing-
it would have been so much effing better if
Oh, I
it
didn't
wasn't
see
in the
that. I didn't
trailer.
see
Here's
that.
the other thing too. That
I
wanna talk
ignored.
about.
I blocked these trailers so hard. Like when I'd see the trailers for this movie on Instagram, and I saw tons of marketing for this movie. I literally just like I would throw my phone across the fucking.
You could scroll past it. That would be easier.
I guess
Either
so.
or. The other thing, and I want to talk about the elephant in the room a little bit, is
The elephant scene with all the elephants in the war.
the elephant porn. No, I'm just kidding. But like, you're gonna tell me that in order to save 1,600 soldiers, you're gonna send 2 guys.
Well, that's the
That's
idea.
the
That's another
thing.
idea of the movies. He says you're faster on your own.
You're faster
Yeah,
on
but
your own.
like compared to like a plane that could drop maybe like some kind of a message on a
yeah,
parachute,
I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know. I think
or
their
even like
idea
a
is that
squad.
I think their idea is that a squad would take longer
Yeah,
because you got to stop for everybody. And
I would say
I
more
get
like
that.
I get the groups of 2, like just 2 guys, because I mean that makes sense. Like you'll move quicker. Smaller groups draws less attention. Like no one's gonna. They're not gonna draw attention.
If you're
from-
walking
from
through
each
the
other.
enemy lines, you're
the
sneaking
thing is,
through.
then
Yeah.
like, and
I don't. I have no
understand.
problem with that part of the movie.
But I would
think-
send 2 groups
Well,
of 2 or like 3 groups of 2.
and
like,
that's what I'm
like double
saying because
chances.
yeah, sure they move faster, but
No, I
that
think-
doesn't matter if they're killed.
I still
then
don't.
no one's getting across.
I still don't think. I think you're more likely to get killed the more people you send. I think
Well,
even
what
if you
I'm
send
saying is-
like 2 guys and then you send 2 more guys, and then I think you're more likely to like people are gonna say, wait a minute, why did we just see 6 British guys instead of just like I just saw a British guy run through?
well, weighing that against 1,600 on a battlefield.
I have no problem. I think strategically that's probably a true story.
Yeah.
I don't have any problem with that.
just-
the plane they probably didn't have.
I don't buy it.
They probably didn't really have planes.
I buy it. That's real.
I totally buy it.
IRL,
This is
dude.
World War One. Like you have to remember, this is like 100 years ago. I don't have a problem with them sending 2 guys. I think that makes sense. I think sending a squad makes no sense.
And also, I think people were so dismotivated and like so and so indifferent. I think it was awesome that they're like, okay, so we
Send a guy whose brother-
send a guy whose brother is in the other regiment, and you could see like the whole time Scoville, he's like. He
Why did you pick me? This sucks.
yeah,
I don't wanna
he
do
doesn't
this.
want to be there. And I think if it had been like maybe like 6 guys and Blake, they would have all been like, no, Blake, we're not going. And then the fact that it was just Blake and Scoville, and Blake was so motivated to getting there that it also motivated Scoville in a way.
Well, it didn't. It rubbed off on him.
Yeah.
I don't really like how Scoville kept on like stopping to like snack on peppers.
He kept just going, this ghost pepper's so hot. And the other guy
he
kept
on
saying,
shouting out a rating. He's like 200 Scoville.
yeah, he went up on the Scoville rating every 5-10 minutes. He kept eating another pepper hotter, and it was annoying because the other character just kept saying, "Dude, we're in a war. You're making it worse on yourself by eating a hot pepper. We're already getting shot at." And he kept just going. He just kept looking at this camera and going, "Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Schofield. This is Scoville's. Scoville's. This one's 200,000. This is a
What's up,
habanero pepper."
Fieldians?
He's like, "What's up, Schofield? This is Scoville's." And then he ate up habanero pepper and his pants.
He was interviewing rappers too.
The thing that I also just kind of really liked about this movie is I felt like it would have been way too cliche if you showed up right in the nick of time.
Yeah.
Like
I like that
and
he
then
missed the
stopped
first
everybody.
wave,
But
yeah.
I like that he missed the first wave because it had that sense of like shiz. Like, did his brother freaking die? Like, you don't know if he was there or not, even though they said he was part of the first wave.
Yeah, and I love the part where like when he gets to, and this is one of the scenes that I gushed over, like when he gets there and the guy's just like singing and he just like goes and he collapses up against the tree and they're all singing there and you can tell he doesn't know that he's there.
Yeah.
But the whole audience, they're like, dude,
Wake up!
you got there.
Or like the other part that I specifically liked, I guess, and this is really, really specific, is when he fell in the river and he's holding onto the log.
Oh man, that was
and you
great.
see him literally like pass out and sink under the water and then wake up.
Yeah.
I really
There's definitely
like
some
that
like
part.
time jumps. It feels like to make up for like.
There were some noticeable cuts. Like, what were some that you
I
guys
mean,
noticed?
whenever it
the
gets
explosion
close,
in the cave.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, the cave was probably cut a bunch of times because it was
Because
dark.
it's so dark.
Anytime the camera gets really close to something,
Yeah, there's
Also,
more,
I don't know if you guys saw Overlord, but I was getting like hardcore Overlord
I haven't
vibes.
seen
Yeah, that's
Just Nazi zombies.
Nazis.
for all those movies
Like I was
weaknesses,
expecting a zombie to come out and like kill one of them.
for all the weaknesses, I mean, as far as weaknesses, we've talked about it. Like, it feels like there's not a lot to be desired. It's a kind of movie that a lot of times I can tell if a movie really affected me if I think about it the next day. If I wake up and I'm thinking about it. Because there's movies I'll watch, I'm like, that was good. And the next day I wake up and it's left my mind already.
But sometimes it's just because you watched the movie at 3 a.m. and then you wake up at
no,
noon and
sometimes,
you're like,
sometimes, but like Uncut Gems, we saw at the same time as this movie.
yeah. I know what you
I saw once in Hollywood at the same time as this movie, and Jojo Rabbit, and like all those movies that I woke up the next day like thinking about and like trying to listen to the soundtrack because I like not just because the soundtrack was good, because the soundtrack's good in this movie, because I want to re-enter that world.
Mm-hmm.
And this movie is a movie I woke up the next day and I almost forgot I saw. It was really good, and I thought about it for the next like 45 minutes, and I was like, that was really good. And then I woke up the next day, and I was like, oh, I saw that
Yeah.
movie.
That's funny.
One
'cause,
thing-
like, I specifically was rethinking scenes like for the next like 2 days after that.
Yeah. One thing that downplayed this movie a lot for me is literally the next day I watched Two Popes, and I love Two Popes.
Really? It's really
Yeah,
good.
I like Two Popes a lot.
We need to talk about that one then maybe soon. It's
Yeah.
nominated for something.
It's nominated. Anthony Hopkins is nominated for Best Actor.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, I don't think he's gonna win, but it's a fun movie, and it's definitely worth a watch. But man, like, I think just those scenes, like the scene with the flares. Oh man, that scene's
was
so
so
good.
good.
The scene with the flares like directly after that, when I guess it's a little bit after that, when those two soldiers, they start coming after him.
Yeah.
When he
That was-
goes in there and he's like strangling the other dude, and the other guy like walks in, and then you
He was
see
just
him,
pissed drunk.
and then you see him notice him, and then you're just falling behind him, and it becomes a video game. And like, I can see why that would be, some people might critique that,
Yeah.
but I loved it. I was like, okay, let's go.
It also had the total. We need to come up with a term for that, like protagonist luck. Where how you're telling me with the dude that's literally 10 feet behind him with a freaking Gewehr wasn't able to shoot him in the back. Like,
Well, I think
come
the
on.
idea is they're all kind of drunk in
yeah.
this town. They're giving
I
up.
mean, yeah, but the guy at the church wasn't.
See, that's the thing
He
is
was
I
like
don't-
10 feet away.
But he was trying to shoot from the fucking hip, dude.
Yeah, and he's running. I don't see that's the
I
thing. is,
don't
like,
know if they're all military.
Have you ever
I
tried
don't-
shooting from the fucking hip?
Yeah, I
It's
can
not
hit
accurate.
something that's 10 feet away.
I've shot from my hip. I've shot from my hip, not my fucking hip.
Also,
No, but I don't
guns
see.
sucked
That's
back
that's where I think we have our differences. Is like I don't. Nick sees weaknesses in parts of the movies like that, where that never affects me.
I'm
Like
just
I don't.
saying, like, if they had at least nicked him or something in the arm, I would have bought it.
Yeah, but then you have to deal with like the cliche, like sewing himself up or some bullshit. Like
But
know,
he already cut his
like, tough
hand
guy.
and then stuck it in the
So,
cadaver.
I don't think. I
oh,
don't,
he's not.
was awesome.
There's like, and that scene when
Oh, he
like
puts his
he
hand in the
puts
dead
his hand
body.
in the dead body. I just got such a feeling of like, well, he's dead.
Yeah, his hand's gone.
He's like, even though he's the main character that survives. That at the end of everything, he survives. I think he might even die after, like when the camera rolls up at the end of the movie and the credits come on in. I think that might be him dying there, just because as soon as his hand goes into that dead body, I'm like, there you go, and the timer starts. It's like, how long does he have?
Yeah, I thought it was going to be more like they were going to have to cut his arm off or something.
I mean, with that, you also have the blood flow, and like blood will cleanse a wound. Like it'll like make it so anything like these outside like poisons can't get into his hand.
Yeah, but dude, medicine back then, like motherfucker probably already had like malaria like before that happened. Like you.
Oh, he definitely
done.
has scurvy.
They
I
go
can tell you
up to him and
that.
they're like, we have to get leeches to suck the bad omens out.
He's done. Like
actually works, though.
maybe he goes home. Maybe he lives like another couple months, and he's like fine, but then his hand, like he's probably just like covering up his hand for a couple months, like
He
watching
got
it get
AIDS.
worse and worse. Not AIDS, but like the infection of that.
That's the moral. Of
The government
story.
hadn't invented AIDS by then. Malcolm.
But like kind of backtracking, that is something that just kind of bugs me in movies is when a lot of like the bad guys shoot at the protagonist and he manages to dodge.
I mean, like Star Wars.
like
Star Wars.
logistical
Star Wars,
stuff. Like,
Indiana Jones.
I don't have
like
any-
freaking
I've never-
James Bond.
I don't have
literally
problems with
any
those
movie. It bugs me so much because like
Uncharted.
I don't want to get into it, but yeah, Uncharted.
Well, that's the
I don't want to
difference
get too
between
much
a hero-
into it, but it bugs me.
Yeah, that's the difference between a hero and just some nobody.
yeah, because like
Luck.
they
Yeah,
almost
Bad
get killed.
guys.
Yeah, dude.
I don't see. I don't think the
If you
bad
wanna-
guys in this movie are shitty.
You
They
either
managed
live
to
a
kill.
hero or you die. From
I don't
good
think the bad guys in this. I don't think the bad guys in this movie are shitty. I think it shows one thing: A, Schofield's a badass. Two, he
already won a medal.
I love
He only
that-
runs in.
He had
only runs
already
in-
won a medal.
I
He
love
only
that I
runs
gave
into,
this
like,
movie a
one-
high rating to both of you, but I'm the one tearing it apart.
He only runs in. Yeah, exactly.
I'm not gonna tear it apart for like story reasons. Like
No, he only.
Well,
Yeah,
no,
I don't.
I'm just like I guess I'm kind of nitpicking that point, but
He only runs into like 4 Germans.
yeah, literally.
It just bugs
There's the
me.
German on the plane.
German
There's the
in-
one that starts
In
shooting
the river, at the river,
And then the two
there's the.
that
There's the
That's the
sniper.
only Germans he runs into
No,
the
there's
whole
the
movie.
sniper.
Oh,
There's the
the sniper he shot.
Yeah,
And
that's what I got. I said
passed him out.
There's
the
the one
plane, the
was a
sniper,
shitty
the one that runs at him.
plane, the sniper, the guy that runs at him, and
and then
then
the two.
that guy that runs
the
at him
two
could have been the
drug
same
ones.
guy.
You think so?
Yeah,
Wait, which guy?
It could be. It could be.
the guy that runs at him, and then the guy that he chokes.
Or the drunk one.
No, that the
'Cause
guy,
there's those
the guy
two
that
guys.
runs at him and the guy he chokes is completely different. The guy he chokes was pretty damn.
So he only sees 5 Germans the whole time and only has a few shots fired at him. I don't think that's realistic. Like, I don't think that's not.
and
my problems with this
he
movie-
did get shot in the head by the sniper.
My problem with this movie is that the cinematography is amazing, but at points the story just feels kind of forgettable.
Yeah.
But again, it's a movie like if I was voting for the Oscars, best cinematography by far.
Oh.
Like my favorite movie of the year, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, can't compare to this movie's how well this movie shot.
Yeah.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was great, but this movie was like downright the best shot movie.
Because it's also something new. It's something we haven't seen. And I
on
think
this big of a scale, no way. Yeah.
I mean, with
think-
Once Upon a Time in
I think-
Hollywood, you can find movies made in the 80s that were shot. I mean,
Or made in the
I mean,
60s.
they share the same shot,
And that's the
it's kinda
purpose
like-
of that movie.
yeah.
The movie's an homage to those.
And
movies.
it's
Also
nostalgic and
Joker.
It's good, it's
Like,
good shots. But
Joker,
it's
I think has amazing cinematography.
I think this movie's better than Joker though.
But-
shot wise,
The reason why Joker's cinematography is so good is because it's nostalgic. It's just calling
totally
back
a
to
riff off of this Scorsese.
And which is the same reason Once Upon a Time in Hollywood cinematography is great.
Yeah.
This it's like modern cinematography being like, look at this.
Look at this. That looked good.
And you guys talked about like the video game effect, but I think that's just because we haven't seen this in a movie yet.
Yeah, possibly.
I think I would like to see this in more movies because it really put me into the landscape.
Tomb
With
Raider.
Angelina
Jolie.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind following behind Angelina Jolie then for an entire movie.
Well, I've got good news for you, friend.
I mean, you also just like that type of. It works because it's a story told over a day. It wouldn't
8
work
hours.
as well for a movie told over weeks or months.
Yeah. There's a point where you're like, he says he can get there in 8 hours. This movie's 2 hours long.
Yeah.
What happens to 6 hours?
Yeah. So it's a cool technique, cool way to tell a story, but it's like it's not going to be universal. It will work where it works, and if you could even.
God.
They
I
committed
can't even
to it.
imagine you
God
trying.
of War.
You can't even try it for other types of movies.
It's just
right?
it's nice to see the level of commitment for it. I definitely recommend it.
Yep.
I give it a 9 because I freaking love war movies, and it's got my favorite shot scene of the whole year.
Yeah, 7. Maybe my favorite shot scene of the year too.
You know how they could do it though in another movie, this kind of shot. In like a drunk night, like a bunch of girls go out to the bar.
Oh, like Hangover or something like
and
that.
it's like a 2-hour period of just like a crazy night.
that'd be
Like,
pretty good,
What
too.
happens? Like they
And it's
show
like
up
a
to a party,
comedy.
holy shit, like yeah, comedy. Like and they could just like follow them around. They get around town. They get thrown in jail. I don't know. Like
You're gonna see
shit happens.
Well, but the style of cinematography is cool. It's not. The difference is that they disguise the cuts and make it feel like it's all one long cut. But like, there's a lot of movies like Pulp Fiction, for example, has like really long cuts. Like take the like when Jules and Vincent. When he goes, we should have shotguns, and they're in the suits in the morning, and they get their car, and they get their guns, and they walk all the way through the apartment complex, take the elevator, and go up the elevator. Like the only time it cuts maybe is to get inside the elevator with them, but then after that it's like all one like really long walking shots where they walk and talk for like a minute, 2 minutes. So there's a lot of like movies where there's a lot of long cuts in there and there's also some short cuts. This is a movie that just disguises those cuts and just makes you feel like it's one. So it's not super different from other movies, but with like the way that time works, you couldn't really do it, right?
Yeah.
For certain movies.
Yeah. But
We recommend.
overall, good.
Good movie.
Yeah.
I recommend seeing it. I think it's cinematography. Should win cinematography for this show, right?
Totally.
It shall. And once we get,
What's gonna beat it though? I mean, like I look at the nominees and I'm like, nothing's better than this.
yeah. Once we get close to the Oscars, we'll talk a little bit about that. It's coming up, man. It's coming up.
So yeah, I think
So
a couple things that are coming up that we're going to talk about. One is
the Sundance Film Festival.
Oh yeah.
Our namesake, Sundance Film Festival, starts this Friday as of recording this show, and we're gonna be doing big releases. We're gonna be doing some video content,
We're
which is new
shooting
for
a short
us.
film up there.
I'm going to go see a documentary.
Oh, man.
Yeah, Nick's going to the premiere of documentary and the premiere of
It's called The Last Thing He Wanted with Willem Dafoe and Ben Affleck.
Oh, that's cool.
And then later, like a couple days later, I'm going to go see the Ren and Stimpy documentary. That's about the guy who invented one of the most influential cartoons of all time.
Oh my gosh.
I'm stoked. I liked Ren and Stimpy,
Yeah,
dude.
no,
that
it's
part
good.
when he freaking takes the crowbar and he rips the giant's toenail off gave me nightmares for years,
No, I'm
dude.
sure it did.
Or Toast Man and he farts on their freaking bread to turn into toast.
Okay.
And then Junior and I are seeing.
We're seeing Sergio.
We're going to the premiere of Sergio. We're gonna dress sick and like hopefully sneak our way into a party.
Yeah.
But it's the Sergio is written by. It's about like a UN diplomat. But it's written by the guy that wrote Dallas Buyers Club.
It's about a Brazilian, and it's starring what's his face from Narcos, who is also a Brazilian, and also starring
The guy from the guy that plays Pablo Escobar.
yeah.
I'm stoked, dude.
Yeah, and it has the girl from Blade Runner.
Oh, dude, Eva de
Armas. What is that? Why are you showing me that
Do
right
you know
now?
Tony Vainuku?
No.
He's an Emmy award-winning director. He's so
We could maybe even get like an interview or something.
Oh shit, yeah.
that'd be dope.
Yeah, he probably let us
says,
in, dude.
He says to RSVP, we visit that website, so I just have to type that in.
Dude, just type it in RCP.
Yeah.
But if we can't get in, if it's like weird to get in, you should be in.
Anyways, see you
I bet that
guys.
he would be down.
No, we have to have official. I don't like this show just ending like we talk about something and then also like the show.
This is the ending. Turn your fucking iPhone off and go live life. Stop listening to podcasts, you fucking millennial.
Read your scriptures.
okay.
Go on a run. Suck someone's dick, you millennial. Do something. Get off TikTok and podcasts and Pornhub and go jerk off to a mountain. Okay, you fucking
A singular
you
mountain.
sick fucking.
And just remember that trains are cool.
Yeah, and if anybody tells you that train, and we're not talking about trans or anything, we're talking about trains, choo-choo trains, Thomas the Tank Engine, Union Pacific, Central Pacific, monorails. If anyone says that they suck, they're a fucking narc from Russia, and they suck asshole. F them.
Okay. This was the Sundance Kids podcast. Thanks for watching. I'm Junior Nelson. Follow me at JRD Nelson on Instagram. Nick Yarrow here.
And I'm super disappointed in what my life has become.
Yeah. That's him.
I'm Malcolm Hatfield, Malcolm.Hatfield on Instagram. I'm disappointed in what Nick's life has become as well.
And I'm horny. at six now. No, my Instagram handle is Jake H Winkle. That's WINKEL on Instagram.com.
And follow us at the Sundance Kids podcast at Instagram.com. And you'll be able to catch this wherever you can listen to podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, and iTunes. Adios.
Also, I wanted to say, just real quick, we're also, once kind of everything is done and we're through all of our big announcements, we're going to be holding a giveaway soon. So stay tuned. Follow us on Instagram for info about that.
Yep. Love you.
Bye-bye.